So hi everyone, I'm Paul Grand, CEO here at MedTech Innovator. Today is another special day for us as we're able to do what we love to do, which is to feature some of the most compelling startups in the entire world. We're very lucky to have the opportunity to be partnered with NCC-PDI, the National Capital Consortium for Pediatric Medical Innovation, to have the opportunity to advance pediatric technologies. I'm a innovator myself. I was a CEO of 3 companies in the medical space before I joined a venture capital firm for 12 years, where I learned the other side and what it takes to actually work with lots of companies who are bringing their products to market. I started MedTech Innovator after about halfway into that, so roughly 8 years ago. And the idea was to find amazing startups and make sure they actually succeed in bringing their technologies to market. We spun that out of the venture firm I was working at, which is called RCT, or Research Corporation Technologies. And we created MedTech Innovator as a standalone company. So in that time now, we've had the opportunity to see innovation from over 5,000 companies in that time period. It's pretty incredible to see all this innovation and to see what people are doing. But it is a struggle, and we're all here to work together to advance pediatric innovation. And in particular, today's event is to talk about pediatric technology related to COVID-19. And as all of us know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. There's no escaping that. Most of us are probably at home right now. Maybe all of us are at home, except for me, I'm not sure. But it's changed all of our lives. But medical device technology really has saved the day, I think many would say. And what we've been lucky about as an industry is that we've been able to respond incredibly quickly to the challenges posed by COVID-19 and immediately have the ability to not only provide things like PPEs and technology for keeping people alive. The ventilator response has been just overwhelmingly incredible, but also many other technologies that are supportive, that make a huge difference in the way patients are cared for in the hospital, they're cared for at home, for diagnosing, for treating, and so on. It really is an incredible industry, and we're really lucky to be part of it. And we found along the way that there were a number of companies that either were innovating brand new technologies to treat COVID or to be responding to COVID, or they pivoted their technologies to be able to address COVID-19. We've seen probably about 90 companies doing that directly that we're involved with in one way or another. So it's really incredible to see that response. We did a COVID-19 focused pitch event, and then we partnered with NCC-PDI to do this pediatric COVID-19 event. So I'm really excited about that. Let me just tell you a little bit about that and about MedTech Innovator very quickly. So MedTech Innovator, for a little bit of background, excuse me, is a accelerator for medical technology. We're focused on improving the lives of patients by accelerating these innovative companies that are transforming care. We have 258 companies that are alumni of our program. 54 products are now on the market, which is really incredible. And these companies have raised over $1.7 billion in follow-on funding. The picture you see on the screen here includes a number of technologies that have been brought to market by MedTech Innovator alumni. And importantly, some of these are pediatric innovations. Also, just for a little bit of context, when I talk about the impact that we're having and kind of the lens that we see, MedTech Innovator is the largest accelerator in the world for medical devices. This is some fresh data from Silicon Valley Bank from last week, highlighting the number of companies that the different accelerators and incubators have focused on medical devices. We're the largest in the world. So when we see things and we talk about things, it's with a pretty unique lens, because we're seeing things that just very few other people have a chance to see. So it's a little bit of background on MedTech Innovator and why we're doing this today. I want to welcome Bill Bentley from the University of Maryland to give us a little bit of some additional background about what they're doing there and also today's event. So Bill.
Thanks, Paul. So this is Bill Bentley. I'm at the University of Maryland, and I'm one of the co-PIs of the NCC-PDI, and I'm a director of the Robert E. Fischel Institute for Biomedical Devices, and just want to welcome everybody. One of the things that if you have an opportunity at some point to take a look at a website called clark.covid.umd.edu, you'll see in a few of the examples by which our institute has paid attention to and tried to contribute to the problem with COVID. And I'm joined today by several of us at the Institute. Lex Schulteis and Martha Wang are here as well. And Alyssa Tomlinson and Emily Rosenthal are participating as judges and communication specialists. Just to note a couple of the innovations that we've worked on locally, an intubation device for protecting clinicians while intubating patients, a rapid deployment mask. We've contributed some phone booth-like structures for sampling patients where the clinician is inside an air-conditioned phone booth. That'll soon be released to the city of Baltimore. And one of the things that I think is probably most germane and important is some work that we've done locally with our collaborators at Children's, at Washington Hospital Center, Walter Reed, and University of Maryland, Baltimore. And that's an alternative to an N95 respirator that's clear, that's reusable. And importantly, one of the things that we did is, and as you go forward and you need some engineering expertise and some help, we created this unit, and actually with all of the clinical specialists and environments around the DC, Baltimore area, we've transitioned that. You can actually buy those. So in a period of about 2 months, we went from ideas to actual product. So one of the things that I think is very important about MedTech Innovator and NCC-PDI is the ability to take innovative ideas and to translate those into commercial products. So with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Paul or Kalela or Tony from Children's, and welcome everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill. Great to be working with you. Yes, so let's go ahead and bring up Kalale Eskandanian to talk to us about also about pediatric innovation, COVID-19, NCC-PDI, and more. So Kalale.
Great. Thank you, everyone. So great to see so many familiar faces. I'm Kalale Eskandanian. I'm the Vice President and Chief Innovation Officer at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. Together with Bill Bentley and Dr. Tony Sandler, who is also one of the judges. Today, we are the principals of the National Capital Consortium for Pediatric Device Innovation. So today we will be selecting 5 or 6 teams that will emerge as having a promising solution to address some of the challenges associated to COVID-19 pandemic. But we hope that these solutions will also introduce longer term resiliency. So if we ever find ourselves in this situation again, we have a solid platform to build upon. Also, one of today's presenters will be selected by Johnson & Johnson Innovation J Labs to receive residency status at the new J Labs at Washington, D.C. that is scheduled to open in January 2021. This competition is made possible by an FDA grant from the Office of Orphan Products, which leads the Pediatric Device Consortia Grants Program, whose goal is to facilitate the development, production, and distribution of pediatric medical devices through funding of nonprofit consortia. And we are one of the 5 in the country with this designation, NCC-PDI is. In turn, our goal is to provide direct funding and expert advising and support services to innovators of pediatric medical devices. Now, more importantly, and very unique to our practice and mechanism, today's competition is matched by a generous philanthropist in Washington, D.C. area, Mei Zhu, who is the CEO and founder of an e-commerce platform, Yes, She May. May is the creator of a number of successful global businesses, and she has a special interest in manufacturing. And she also has roots in University of Maryland. So I'm so glad that Bill Bentley and all colleagues from University of Maryland are here. We are really appreciative of your support, May, and this is, the first time that we're getting a philanthropic gift to match the Pediatric Device Innovation Competition. I'm an optimist about the power of philanthropy to reduce inequity. The one that we have today is really the gap that exists between innovation in adult healthcare and pediatric healthcare. And so a very warm thank you to May for your support, and I'd like to invite you to address our innovators. May, you're on mute.
Thank you, everyone, for inviting me. And I have to say, first of all, I'm a mother of 4, and all of them have been treated very well by the doctors at Children's. And it has been great to see the innovative ideas that blossomed from prenatal surgeries to others. So we're not only a manufacturer, we're also really in the community cheering Children's on. At the same time, more than ever, design leadership is incredibly important as we face this challenge internationally. So I'm very impressed to see the amount of ideas that we were able to see in a short period of time, and I can't wait. Congratulations for such a good participation.
Thank you so much, May. Paul, back to you.
Thank you very much, Kalale and May and Bill. Let me just tell you a little bit about how today's event's going to work. As you heard, there were many, many companies that applied, and then we down selected to the ones you're going to hear present today. The companies that we selected were all ones that we believe can truly have an impact on COVID-19 in the pediatric population. And so our goal is to not only provide awards for these companies, but to provide them some feedback, to provide them some guidance. We want to make sure these companies succeed in bringing these technologies to patients. So part of that is to provide them with some financial incentives to do so. And so the awards that we can provide today are going to be really meaningful in making an improvement in these technologies and accelerating their ability to get to patients. But it's also to provide them with feedback from experts. So in this event, you're not just going to see companies pitch one after the other, and then we make a decision. All the companies are going to go into private breakout rooms with small groups of judges, and they're going to rotate around from room to room over a series of sessions where they'll be pitching to different groups of experts. And I put the names of the companies up on the screen here so you can see everyone who's going to be presenting today. What I will show you later on during one of the breaks is a list of all the people who are serving as judges and expert in terms of providing feedback for the companies. So they're going to be asking you questions that are designed to learn more about your company during the breakouts, but they're also going to be giving you feedback. So this is an opportunity, presenters, for you during those sessions to ask them questions as well. So it's not just for us to interrogate you or to evaluate you. You have the opportunity to jump in and ask some questions as well, because this is a great opportunity to talk to experts from all across the industry. We're incredibly lucky. Kalale and the team at NCC-PDI have put together a judging and expert roster that is just unparalleled. I think we have over 75 judges participating today. So it's pretty an amazing opportunity to interact with these people in the industry. Again, these are the companies that are going to be presenting today. Let me tell you a little bit about the judging process. So for the judges, I'm quickly going to show you some screens here that will mirror the form that you're going to be filling out on your computers. So you'll see at the first part of the form, it'll say pitch company, and it'll list the companies alphabetically. So Adapomics at the top, and then so on. You click the little radio button next to their name to select the company each time you fill in this form. And then you see a pitch notes box, which you can click on and fill in some information during the pitch. So startups, you're going to give roughly a 5-minute pitch during your breakout sessions. This will be the opportunity for the judges to record their notes while you're doing so. Judges, we will have the opportunity for you to look at your notes later as well. There's a feedback box where judges, you can fill in the information about the startups, information that you would like the startups to actually get in writing. So this is an anonymous form. You can type in whatever notes you want, some little highlights. It could be something like, really interested in what you're doing. You might consider also connecting with the VA because, they're synergistic in this, or have you thought about XYZ, or, this might be something that would strengthen your presentation. Maybe the business model was confusing, or the stat slide was little, the evidence wasn't as compelling, or you think you could present it differently. Whatever you want to tell the startups, this will go to them, along with their scores. So you're going to rate the opportunity 1 week to 10 strong. And basically what we're looking for you to do here is give an overall opportunity score. So if you think this technology has a real shot at making an impact and it has the right ingredients and the team and everything else, then I would rate that on the higher side. If the opportunity is one that you think really needs a lot more work, it's still pretty early and frankly, not just quite ready, then you would rank that on the lower side. Most of the ones that we've selected today are going to be on the higher side because they've already been down selected from a large pool. Third is were you aware of the company? So that means before this event, not just before we sent you your packet, but before this event. And then rating the innovation of the technology as being transformational, incremental, or Me Too is pretty self-explanatory. Incremental would be something above a Me Too technology, and then transformational would be something that really has the chance to move the needle. And then we have a series of other ratings questions that you could go through pretty quickly. They go from a scale of 1 weak to 5 strong in 5 different areas: value to the patient, technical feasibility, strength of the team, healthcare economics, and likelihood of funding. We know that you may not be an expert in all these areas. If you're not, just rate something as a 3 for a neutral, and that will be just fine. What are some of the challenges, the success of the company? You can just fill in some brief highlights here. We're not looking for long paragraphs. We're looking for just highlights that we can actually be referring to later when we have our judge deliberation. Also on the compelling side, we want you to tell us some of the things that you find compelling about the technology. Again, highlights, brief things that we can look at together on the screen later. And then lastly, you'll see, would you be interested in having a follow-up mentor call with the company or a feedback session with the company? So this isn't something where we're going to automatically send you an email. What we're looking for is, we're trying to help these companies. And if this is a company that you think that you would be interested in continuing to help in some way, it can just be a single phone call, whatever it might be, give us a yes in that box. And then we'll know that we have the ability to reach out to you later and say, okay, here's the companies that you said yes to. Here's we'd like you to have calls with these companies or a couple of the companies or whatever might be the opportunity. And then lastly, there's an additional comments box where you can write anything that you may have missed. And then there's a button that says submit. When you hit submit, it's going to upload the form to our server. At that time, you won't be able to edit the form anymore. If for some reason you didn't have enough time to fill in the information, you can check the little box that says save as draft and then hit submit. And what it does is it actually stores the form results that you've typed in so far in the corner of your browser, sort of in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. There'll be a number. You can click that number later on in the form and it will expand and give you a list of the ones that you had filled in so far. So if you have several of those saved as not finished, you can open those back up, finish your form, and then submit them. So that's how the judging works. If you have any trouble, you can reach out to other people in your room. Many of them have judged for us before, and they could help you with that. You can also leave your breakout room if you need to, or during the in between the sessions, you can go back to Liz and ask her for some help, and she can help you with that. At any time, if you need to message someone and ask them for help, Liz would be the person to reach out to. So that's some of the orientation for the judging. It's really pretty simple. Don't feel too pressured by it. The intent is for us to capture some information we can use for the deliberation later, but it is not necessarily to just pick the winner from the information you enter on this form. So that's how that's going to work. And now I'm going to have a chance to switch roles here and have our startups give us some presentation. So as I mentioned, this is an event where we've grouped judges together based on their interests into breakout rooms, and they're going to generally stay in those breakout rooms for the whole time. The startups, however, will be moving from room to room during each of our breakouts. And because we don't have time for all of our judges to see all of the startups, We wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to see all the companies, at least in some amount, because we all have the opportunity to help. And that's one of the most important things here, is that whether you're a startup, you might want to help another startup that you find that you have some synergy with, or you have an introduction you could make. So I'd like all of you to pay close attention, even if you're not presenting in the beginning and you're presenting at the end. Listen to all these pitches, because you might find a kindred spirit or somebody that you could help as well. Same thing for our judges and other experts. Please, listen to these presentations. Even if you don't have a chance to meet with one of these startups during the breakouts, maybe there's an opportunity for you to connect with them later. All of the contact information for all of these startups will be available with a link that we'll be sharing during the talk today. So with that, what I'm going to do is bring up each of our startups for a 1-minute pitch. You'll come up one by one. You just give your pitch for 1 minute. In the corner of the slide, you will see a little countdown clock. As soon as that starts going, you can start talking as soon as your slide comes up. When the countdown gets to red, so it'll go from green to yellow to red along with the time that it's counting down. When it gets to red, that really means that you need to be wrapping up. If it stops and says time's up, that's time to stop, so we can stay on track. So with that, I'm going to bring up Adipomix to give us their 1-minute pitch. So Evan. Evan, if you're there.
Forgive me. Sorry about that. This is actually, I'm actually Keith Ortholet. My apologies, Evan and Robert. So it's Evan Nadler, Dr. Evan Nadler and Dr. Robert Friestadt were the founders of Adipomix. I'm actually an advisor to them, a strategic advisor, and I am not a scientist. I am not a doctor. I'm a process person. I deal with more outsourcing and manufacturing around the world and software. Anyway, so what they've done is, the situation right there in the world right now is that we're looking at opening up schools, we're bringing kids back to universities, and do not have appropriate testing. What they've done is they're trying to provide good, reliable testing around COVID-2. Adipomix has focused on a whole viral particle detection. The evolution of these tests have gone through the RT-PCR phase, there's an antibody phase, and now the whole viral particle phase. That evolution has become more reliable. The whole particle detection phase is scalable. The detection was within 10 minutes. The false positives are incredibly low as along with the false negatives. It can be done without real training for personnel. It's instantaneous, and there's a color-based result, which makes it very, very easy. So no laboratory is required. That's the direction of this solution, and that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Keith. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Next up, Bloom Standard. Bloom Standard.
Good morning, we're here. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, good to see you again.
Great, good to see you as well. So we were founded really about 10 years ago when my daughter Eve was born, and at 3 days old, she was in heart failure due to an undiagnosed congenital heart defect, but she really was able to survive 4 medical transports and 5 surgeries, and that's how we got involved in this, understanding that really 95% of the world doesn't have access to what we had, which was an early diagnosis and imaging of her heart. Actually, fewer than 1 in 20 infants and children under 5 don't have access to essential ultrasound imaging. And really, it's critical to facilitate life-saving care. Even in the US here, only about 7% of hospitals have the right equipment or technicians to do pediatric ultrasound or echoes. And 6 months into the COVID-19 pandemic, we really know now how critical imaging has become to the diagnosis and care of all COVID-19 patients, including children. So at Bloom Standard, we're removing that barrier to access by eliminating the need for skilled technicians to acquire and interpret those images of the heart and lungs, helping to reduce the costs, reduce the risks of infection for staff and patients, and really give faster information through self-driving ultrasound. So while I do this work as a leader through the lens of my policy background, my public health background, and health economics, it's really Eve's journey that's kind of the constant motivator. And I serve on 2 WHO work groups right now that are focused on COVID-19 in children. So we're translating data in near real time, and we hope that will continue to help us really focus on closing those gaps for the most vulnerable. Every one of our medical partners is looking for this and asking for it. So thanks for the chance to help us connect with those resources to help these kids in the time they need it.
Thanks, Anna Marie. Very happy that you're doing this work.
Thanks.
All right, next, TheraView Medical. John.
Thanks, Paul. This is John Gaston. I'm the CEO of TheraView Medical. We're a San Francisco-based healthcare company focused on developing algorithms and data analytics using our unique wearable, which is a forehead wearable. It was originally designed to measure pain, and we actually have a validated study at Stanford University that was published to show that we can measure pain. But when COVID came along, we said, look, we can repurpose this device to measure the key indicators of COVID becoming critical. And we saw an opportunity to take our device as a way to help clinicians and patients monitor people that have the disease while they're at home, and limit the people just coming in seeking healthcare when they might not need it, but also ability to really determine criticality. The uniqueness of our device is we can measure myalgia or pain, as well as dyspnea, which is really interesting. The opportunity goes well beyond just COVID-19 when you think about the capability to measure this. The $50,000 grant we're looking for is going to allow us to take the adult version of our system and make a pediatric version. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, terrific technology. Next up, Nitin with Children's National.
Right, good morning, everybody. This is Nitin from Children's National, and with continued concerns of COVID-19, there is a special emphasis on repurposing the drugs. However, there are hundreds of candidates, drug candidates that are in the pipeline, and it is extremely challenging to screen those drugs for the right combinations to identify which combinations show the highest efficacy and synergy. So we have developed a lab-on-a-chip technology, which allows us to multiplex the screening process and screen dozens or even several dozens of samples every day. And we can have the results within 24 to 48 hours. And this technology costs less than $1 a chip to produce. So we believe that this can be a game changer in drug screening and repurposing, especially when we have the race against time. And this is not, this technology is not specific to COVID. It can also be applied to other diseases like cancer or Alzheimer's.
Very good. Thank you very much. Technology. Next up, we have Clarity.
Hello.
Hello.
How many of you have struggled with the everyday use of a typical cloth or surgical mask? Have you thought about the short and long-term effects of covering half of your face, blocking facial expressions, visual cues, and therefore communication? Can you imagine what it feels like to be a child and grow up in this new world of half-covered faces? We have, and we are doing something about it. Good morning. My name is Maria Camila Velez. I'm a member of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and with our team, our vision is to bring facial expressions back into the world. Clarity is a completely transparent, reusable, and DIY origami face mask that everyone, including all of you, can make. This mask uncovers all facial expressions and improves communication since it's totally see-through. In pediatrics, it'll be especially helpful for vulnerable populations such as children who are deaf or hard of hearing, children whose brains are developing, and those who have behavioral or cognitive disabilities. We would like to help as many children around the world grow up knowing what it's like to give a smile and get one in return.
Thank you, Maria. If you could send me a box of those right away, that would be terrific. I think everybody would like one of those, not just for pediatrics. All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have Hopscotch.
Hello, my name is Marla, and I am the CEO of Hopscotch, a digital platform that aims to make behavioral healthcare more accessible and engaging for children. Up to 85% of children diagnosed with a behavioral health condition never receive treatment due to extreme provider shortages across the country. When a child is able to receive care, oftentimes progress is limited due to lack of engagement in between sessions. These issues are only exacerbated by the pandemic and the impact of social isolation, lack of structure, and the uncertainty surrounding the virus. Our digital platform enables pediatric behavioral health providers to leverage evidence-based digitized exercises, empowering children to become more involved in their treatment, providing clinicians with greater transparency into treatment progress, and making care more accessible. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Great stuff. All right. Next up, we have MediChain.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm Mark Baker, and I led the MediChain team in the coronavirus hackathon earlier this year. So we were an artificial intelligence company looking at big data initially on a project for the UK National Health Service to look for trends sitting in big databases. We put the Sao Paulo coronavirus database into our system and discovered some very strong predictors for SARS-CoV-2 from ordinary full blood count measures. So you have an ordinary full blood count measure. It turns out with 98% efficiency, you can sensitivity, you can detect COVID or predict it up to 2 weeks earlier than PCR. And this is a very robust finding. So really very reproducible and very high level of specificity as well.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Really looking forward to learning more about that. All right. Next up, we have Metapines.
Hi, I'm Richard Hines, Medical Director at Metapines. And on behalf of the whole Metapines team, we'd like to thank you for this opportunity to modernize pediatric respiratory medicine by competing in this competition. We're humbled by the great ideas that this group, all of the innovators are bringing forward. And today we hope to show you how we're going to bring and revolutionize pediatric respiratory medicine using our fast, painless, and precise measurement that shows us what's going on in the lungs and also what's going on in the blood, which is extremely important in the age of COVID-19 and influenza. And we hope to move the platform that we've already used to monitor and improve the care of thousands of adult patients now into the very much needed area of pediatrics. And so once again, we very much appreciate this opportunity and look forward to showing you what we can provide.
Looking forward to seeing what you can provide as well. Thank you, Rich. All right, next we have Odo Photo.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having us. Imagine it's 3 a.m. Nora, your 6-month-old, awakens with a fever and you worry it could be an ear infection. She looks at you in pain and you feel absolutely helpless because you know that bringing her to a doctor could expose both of you to COVID, but leaving her in pain is not an option. So what do? Odo Photo is a medical device that uses artificial intelligence to help parents instantly identify an ear infection in their child. Our revenue comes from device sales to parents of children with recurrent ear infections, of which there are over 10.5 million children in the US. We've obtained a $300,000 grant to develop a prototype, completed 2 rounds of iCore customer discovery and an early accelerator, and submitted a provisional patent. We're seeking $50,000 for a computer scientist to help refine our machine learning algorithm and mentorship for a 510(k) submission. Odo Photo, safer ear exams in a COVID-19 world. Thank you.
Thanks, Therese. Sounds like you can make some good progress with that award, so good luck. All right, next up, we have Oxyware.
Hi, I'm Shabini Fernando.
Hi.
And I'm the founder and CEO of Oxyware. So I myself is a pulmonary hypertension patient. So based on my own experiences, I identified that there is no wearable for us to warn when our oxygen levels are falling because we are very prone for silent hypoxia. And now with COVID-19, we are hearing about silent hypoxia more than ever. So at Oxyware, what we made was a wearable device which goes on the ear and then it continuously monitors the body oxygen levels. and warns the wearer when their oxygen levels are falling below their safe level. And at those times, it will send an emergency text alert to their emergency contact with their location and their oxygen vital and all the data, so they can get the help in time. So with this device, the main purpose of us is like to help the kids and everyone else who's prone for silent hypoxic episodes to prevent most of the critical conditions and the deaths that happen due to silent hypoxia because they have no warning or any way of getting help. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivani. Yeah, silent hypoxia is a huge problem. So looking forward to hearing more about your solution. All right, next we have Real Tromand.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Keith Kosis, and I take care of critically ill children like this baby every day. My NIH-sponsored research into predictive analytics for critically ill and hospitalized children has led me and the late Dr. Daniel Kosis into entrepreneurship as founder of Real Tromans. Real Tromans stands for real-time, risk of mortality, and instability. It's a DEFCON score, a red, yellow, green early warning system that takes 4 standard inputs, the ECG from the physiologic monitor, the numeric data from that monitor as well, typical lab data and demographic data, and sends it through 2 patented algorithms, which undergo signal processing of the ECG signal, statistics, and data mining / AI to produce the Real Tromans DEFCON score in order to identify high-risk patients, continuously update that risk approximately every 2 minutes, better match resources of physicians, nurses, and ICU beds in order to save patient lives. Thank you for letting me present today.
Thank you, Keith. I'm looking forward to seeing that dashboard. All right, next up we have, sorry, my screen's blocked over here. SurgiPals.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Renee Sturm and excited to present our product SurgiPals. This was developed to improve children's and their caregivers' experience following discharge. As a pediatric specialist, we all meet individuals, parents who have these concerns and anxieties following a COVID-19 diagnosis. SurgiPals is a digitally enabled pediatric symptom and biomarker platform for early detection of severe COVID-19 disease and inflammatory sequelae. Our team met in Southern California, where we were the first prize winners in the Hacking Pediatrics event. We bring together the clinical, entrepreneurial, and technical expertise needed to make this product a reality within a time span required to assist families who need these answers now. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, TGV-DX.
Good morning. My name is George Tess. I'm co-founder and chief scientific officer from TGV-DX. While in children, COVID-19 does not result in significant mortality, it can lead to a significant, even crippling morbidity if secondary bacterial pneumonia develops. Thus, in many cases, the battle to save children with COVID-19 relies on the selection of effective antibiotics. And ADB Finder is a novel phenotypic-based test system that allows you to select effective antibiotics even against antibiotic-resistant bacteria. It is based on a novel principle of antibiotic selection, which is that the most hard to treat multi-drug resistant bacteria are killed not just by being the primary target of antibiotic selection, but also by the eliminating of other bacteria that support it. It is an all-in-one kit that does not require isolation of pure bacterial culture and is ready to be used in BSL-3 lab. It delivers a list of effective antibiotics within 4 hours, which is much faster than what is possible with their current methods. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really interesting. Looking forward to learning more. All right, next up, we have Vitascope.
Hi, so my name is Neeraj Mistry, and I'm a pediatrician, and my co-founder is Sri Krishnan, a professor of biomedical engineering, and we're both based in Toronto, and our product's called Covidascope. We first set out to solve the problem of newborn heart rate detection immediately after birth, because heart rate is the best indicator of the need for and the effectiveness of neonatal resuscitation. But now with COVID, there's a need for not only heart rate, but all vital signs at the point of care. And that point of care has shifted as many women are choosing to deliver their babies at home. And there's also been a rapid shift in care to virtual care at home. So Newborns are particularly at risk of this because the critical period after birth, they really need to be seen and monitored closely. So to address this situation, we've accelerated our original product to develop Covidoscope, which provides fast and accurate point-of-care non-invasive vital signs. And we also have a unique auditory-based cough score to enable high-quality resuscitation regardless of where a baby is born and to facilitate effective telemedicine encounters. So look forward to sharing more about this with you.
Great, thank you very much. Really interesting technology. All right, next up, Vitals.
Hi everyone, I'm Werner, co-founder of Vitals, and we've developed a wearable device that monitors vital signs continuously. Our devices are small, thin, unobtrusive, and flexible. They're also waterproof and they're disposable. Disposability is nice because they don't have to be recharged and they can be, they don't have to be sterilized either. Our devices are worn on the chest and we currently monitor SpO2, body temperature, heart rate, respiration rate, and heart rate variability. We've also been cleared by the FDA for ages 2 years and older, which means that, or often wearable devices aren't cleared under 18 because of the sensors they use. So we're pretty unique in that sense. We're also the only company that measures this combination of vital signs that includes body temperature in a single form factor. The data we collect is sent to our cloud and from there distributed, and our platform can be deployed within 15 minutes in any COVID situation. So it's pretty easy to do and to train. Thank you.
Thanks, Werner, and thank you and congratulations on the clearance. It's great. All right, next we have X Biomedical. Godfrey, are you there? X Biomedical. If you're muted, you can unmute.
With COVID-19 spreading like wildfire, this has been an extremely challenging time for our planet. Our team at X Biomedical felt compelled to serve in addressing the devastating shortage of ventilators. Overnight, we formed an elite COVID-19 strike force, and in a couple months, we went from concept to a now patent-pending, fully functional, production-ready prototype, completed bench testing and successfully completed several large animal tests in swine. We have been working in close collaboration with clinicians at CHOP. The X-Vent 2.0 smart ventilator is rugged, portable, telemedicine, and AI-powered. It facilitates remote control and remote monitoring of patients. It requires minimal training and significantly reduces clinician burden. The funds would be massively helpful to build our next prototype and believe our smart ventilator can make a significant impact on the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Godfrey. It's great seeing you. I always enjoy seeing you at Exponential Medicine every year. Okay, so that is, those are our 1-minute pitches. That's the last of those. So terrific job, everybody, in doing a 1-minute pitch to tell your technology. Not easy to do, as we all know. I also want to use this opportunity to introduce one of the people who was referenced earlier today, which is Sally from JLabs, to have an opportunity to tell us a little bit more about JLabs. And because you heard before that one of the winners is going to have an opportunity for residency at JLabs. So wanted to give Sally an opportunity to tell us a little bit about JLabs. So Sally.
MedTech Innovator, and we're really excited to also partner with the National Capital Consortium for Pediatric Device Innovation for this pitch event. As mentioned, I'm representing JLabs, a Johnson & Johnson innovation. We are opening our no strings attached incubator here in Washington, D.C. in January of 2021. We'll be anchored at Children's National New Innovation Campus. So we're really excited to anchor partner with Children's National and really look for some of the best science and technology out there in the external space to bring into our incubator, partner companies with our internal experts at Johnson & Johnson and really help to bring science and technology further along faster.
Terrific, thank you very much. And when do we think that the JLabs will actually open?
Yeah, so we are getting our certificate of occupancy in Q4 this year, and we'll be ready to go and onboard companies in January of 2021 next year. We have an open enrollment for companies and entrepreneurs. The simple application is online, and we are starting to review companies of interest already.
Terrific. Well, I've had the pleasure of going to a number of JLabs facilities all over the U.S. I haven't yet been to the one in Shanghai, but I understand that one is just incredible as well. And a lot of companies that have been through MedTech Innovator are residents at JLabs, some through awards that they've won, like the one today, as well as others who have just taken up residency and joined the incubator. And from everyone who reports back to me tells me that it's been transformative for them, not only to have the incredible resources there, but also just to be part of an ecosystem where they can look over and walk down the hall and talk to people who are working on similar problems, hear the talks. You have those great talks all the time, and speakers who come in and mentors and people available from J&J Innovation. So I know it's been an amazing resource. And we've had companies, for example, that are international, that are from Europe, who've used that as a place where they come and take all their meetings every time they come to the US. Whatever it might be, I know it just offers a really great resource. So that's tremendous. And I know you have facilities all around the world. Tremendous job on that, and terrific to have you coming into the DC area. That's really
fantastic. Thank you. We're really excited.
Thank you, Sally. Before that, we have a number of companies that perhaps have either applied to or are considering applying for funding from BARDA, if they're having anything to do with the pandemic, having anything to do with technologies for keeping people healthy by diagnosing and enabling treatment for things that might relate to things like biohazards. And so we've been really pleased to be partnered with BARDA for the last 2 years in terms of looking for technology and helping to accelerate those technologies when we find them. We do have Donna Boston, who's here from BARDA today on the webinar. And what I was going to do is hand over to Catherine Zavala on my team to talk a little bit about a new solicitation that BARDA has in this area. So Catherine, you want to take over?
Hi, everybody. So as Paul mentioned, we've been, really excited to be part of the BARDA Accelerator Network over the last 2 years. If you're not familiar with BARDA, that's the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. And so they have released, as of July 9th, a new area of interest that we thought might be relevant specifically to this audience. And this is what I'm sharing the screen now. It's the Pediatric Diagnostic Tools for Severe COVID-19. So as many of you know, our children are vulnerable to the disease. Some may present, maybe asymptomatic, but some may have more severe presentation of the disease. And more recently, there has been this multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome in children that has developed. So there is a specific need to be able to predict severe outcomes in a pediatric population. What BARDA is looking for specifically are host-based diagnostic tools. So this is in contrast to anything that's directed toward the pathogen. Specifically, in vitro diagnostics, EHR-based tools or algorithms that can collect data to predict, identify, and prognosticate risk trajectories. And then also clinical decision support software or remote/continuous monitoring devices. So again, this is a really great opportunity. The EZBAA is known for being a very quick turnaround. So you can submit an application and then within 30 days, they will be able to let you know if you'll be getting funding. However, there are some requisites. They usually look for later stage tools. So things that have already, in this case, there's already been some initial studies with pediatric COVID-19 samples. This is a technology that would be seeking FDA clearance or approval. That already identified clinical study site partners, and then of course specifically focused for pediatrics. There's a couple more notes here. You can find this release on the beta sam.gov website. And then also, I believe Donna is here. I'll give her a chance to introduce herself. She can also ask any questions if people have them right now.
Hi, thanks, Catherine. This is Donna Boston.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Hi.
Donna, you could move your video a little bit lower. We see the top of your head. There we go.
Sorry. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has, but I think Catherine did a great job describing our very newest area of interest, which is pediatrics focused for COVID.
So if anyone has questions, you can unmute yourself and just ask. That is just fine. And it can be about the solicitation or just BARDA in general. Anyone have any questions?
Yes, is there a link to the solicitation? Sorry about that. Is there a link to the solicitation? I might have missed that.
Yes, there is. I can post it into the chat and then you'll have that.
Thank you.
And a quick question, what kind of preliminary data do they require for this?
So preferentially having data from work that you've done in pediatric, populations is important. It still remains to be seen. This is a brand new area of interest, so I'm not fully 100% sure about whether that data can be generated as part of the project or whether you have to have already, somehow or another had that data. So let me refer you to the points of contact that are named in the solicitation itself. There should be a website, or rather an email address in the solicitation where you can write and ask those kinds of questions. But it's preferred that you have established some feasibility data in that target population.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Matt Maltese here.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Quick question, just looking at the scope here, it's diagnostics, algorithms, decision support software, monitoring, but do you have any plans for therapeutics or other therapies specifically for children?
Oh, yes. So there are other areas of interest within the larger BARDA spectrum of products in our medical countermeasures program that are COVID focused, but those are much later stage. BARDA is advancing, kind of through the final stages of product development, products that are related to COVID therapeutics and vaccines. And obviously there's a larger intergovernmental response called Operation Warp Speed, which is really designed to bring a vaccine to market as quickly as possible. So I'm not really prepared to talk about those today, but, and as far as having a pediatric focus, that would be part of the wider project area of the vaccine and therapeutics development. And you could find those at the Beta SAM website that Catherine mentioned as well, the BARDA solicitation for COVID therapeutics and vaccine.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Donna. If anyone has other questions for Donna, I think she'll be available either here for a little bit, or we could have, we can certainly provide her contact information after this. And as Catherine mentioned, she's going to paste a link into the chat with information on where to go to learn more. BARDA is incredibly accessible and has been an amazing partner to tons of companies during this pandemic and before, and will continue to do so afterwards as well. They were stood up years ago, not just for COVID, but prior to that, they were preparing for this, and we're really lucky that they were doing so, because it's really made a huge impact on patients and care. So thank you, Donna.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thanks. Thanks for doing what you do. I want to introduce a couple other people. So we have a number of people here from our partners. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of partners who help bring these technologies to market in MedTech Innovator, some of whom are service providers, some of whom are strategics, some who are other industry stakeholders. One of the people who's been involved with us in pediatric innovation for a while since we started doing these events is Jackie Phillips from Johnson & Johnson. And she's been here at all the pitch events we've done related to pediatrics. I just want to introduce her quickly so she can say hi. So maybe Jackie, if you want to unmute yourself, can you say hello?
Sure. Hi, hello everyone, and thank you again, Paul, for yet another wonderful pitch competition. You've really gotten the online version down to a science, so thanks, Liz. This is great. Good to see everybody, many colleagues, and there's Amra smiling, many co-workers and others. And Godfrey, I see you there. I see you at every single one of these. So good luck, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much. Someone else who I've been doing a webinar series with, I'm hoping he's on with us right now and not multitasking too much, as he does a lot, is Daniel Kraft. Daniel's with, not only with Singularity University and Exponential Medicine, as I mentioned earlier today, I gave a shout out to Exponential Medicine, but also has a new resource called digital.health. And if you just go to your browser and type in digital.health and hit return, you'll see this really amazing new resource that Daniel put together, which is designed to really aggregate a lot of the resources that are out there and opportunities for innovators. Daniel, are you there? You want to say hi?
Yep. Thanks, Paul. Hi, everybody. I'm trained in medicine and pediatrics, and I think part of the challenge and opportunity now is a lot of the things we're seeing here in this great competition, connected, digital, connected, mobile health. And the trick is, how can clinicians, whether you're a pediatrician, a physical therapist, a pharmacist, start to find and identify and prescribe a digital health solution, technology, platform, wearable. So digital.health is still very early alpha stage. Would love contacts for other things that we could start to integrate into a platform we'll be adding there that's focused on pediatric related digital health and medicine. So just check out digital.health, and great to be a judge again with you here. And also look out for our Exponential Medicine Conference, which will be virtual this November. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Daniel. And again, if you haven't been to Exponential Medicine before, it's an amazing event. Daniel's done an incredible job building building a conference that people not only really want to go to, but don't want to leave. I mean, literally, people try to keep, people keep extending their stay once they get down there. I know this year will be virtual, Daniel, but I'm sure it'll still be tremendous. I often refer to it as the Burning Man of conferences because it really is kind of that combination of great talks and just unbelievable interaction with other people, and that you don't always get to meet, but the conversations are always really stimulating and exciting. So, thanks for doing that, Daniel.
Thanks.
Well, thank you.
I would like to thank.
I definitely want to say thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a great experience.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Great.
Massively
great. Thank you.
Great judges.
Thank you so much. Like
Yeah.
all the advice.
Thank you.
And
Hi,
we
Godfrey.
you do some applause for the startups too.
Great job, everyone.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Really impressive work, everybody. Everybody applaud. Come on, great job, everybody. Applaud for yourselves. Applaud for everybody else. Great job. It's not something. One thing you don't get to hear is like the roar of the crowd and the clapping and these stuff like that. I wish Zoom had an applause button or applause meter, but we'll get there eventually. All right, again, startups, thank you for all your time today, pitch companies. We will be in touch with you guys, and we're looking forward to seeing these innovations help patients and especially the children who really need them. So thank you all. We'll be in touch.